After 5 years of marriage, my wife, Diana, returned from a 6-month business trip with her first love, Sam, in tow. My wife was already more than 3 months pregnant. Diana said his life was difficult and wanted him to stay at our house temporarily. I refused, and Diana told me not to be ungrateful. Her tone was full of disgust, as if she had forgotten that this mansion was my property. Her whole family was living off me and using my resources. This time, I decided to cancel all living sponsorship. I smiled and called my assistant. Draw up divorce papers immediately. A woman who married into wealth dares to bring her Mr. home openly. I had been eagerly anticipating Diana's return from her 6-month business trip. Early in the morning, I arranged all the little souvenirs I had collected for her from various places over the past half-year. I also asked Mrs. Wilson, our housekeeper, to prepare a table full of her favorite dishes. At that moment, the front door opened, and Diana appeared with her arm around her ex-boyfriend. I was shocked. Sam walked towards me with a smile, gently walking towards me with his vicious smirk. Liam, long time no see. As I stared at my wife's pregnant stomach, anger surged within me. Sam seemed to notice my change in emotion and quickly came to my side, clutching my wrist as he said in a sweet voice, "Liam, please don't be upset. This is all my fault. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Please don't hurt Diana." Sam's simple words hit me like a thunderbolt. I hadn't said anything yet, but Sam had already revealed everything. Diana had been watching my reaction the whole time, ready to rush in and protect Sam at any moment. I clenched my fists and glared at Diana, asking, "Aren't you going to explain?" After I spoke, she sighed and gently said to Sam, "Let me take you to choose a room first. I'll handle this." Diana's gentle tone stunned me. In our 5 years of marriage, she had never spoken to me like that. Under my watchful gaze, she supported Sam as they went upstairs. The driver brought in 3 large suitcases. It seemed Sam had moved half his home here. Although Sam looked even healthier than me, Diana protected him as if he were a delicate doll. I collapsed onto the sofa, waiting for Diana to settle Sam and give me an explanation. As I listened to the irritating laughter from upstairs, I was about to rush up when the doorbell rang. Diana's parents stormed in with gloomy faces, seemingly not noticing me as they quickly rushed upstairs. I followed them up and heard Diana pulling her parents aside, saying sincerely, "I didn't mean to hide this from you. My pregnancy is unstable in the early stages, and I was afraid something might go wrong. I hope you can understand. Sam and I love each other, and the baby in my belly is your grandchild after all. Please don't blame him." I thought about the 5 years of our marriage. Whenever I had disagreements with her mother, Diana would always say that her mother was old and that I should be more patient with her. She had never stood up for me. I always thought that was just her personality. It wasn't until today, seeing her protect Sam at every turn, that I realized I had been a fool all along. Sam chimed in, holding Diana's mother's hand. "I didn't intentionally try to ruin Diana's marriage. We truly love each other. I hope you can understand, Uncle and Aunt." Diana's mother's frown gradually relaxed as she glanced at me standing in the doorway. I knew she was hesitating. For the past 5 years, I had been transferring living expenses to her every month. Anyone could see that Sam's financial situation couldn't compare to mine. My heart sank. Diana, as my wife, not only failed to give me a heads up about the situation, but also publicly humiliated me. Did she really think I had no temper, no self-respect? Seeing the silence in the room, Diana's eyes suddenly reddened and she began to sob. "The child in my womb is innocent. No matter what, I will give birth to him. You can scold me all you want, but I hope my child won't be harmed." Large teardrops rolled down Diana's cheeks. She looked pitiful to anyone who saw her. Sam wiped away the tears from the corners of Diana's eyes with a pained expression, her voice filled with resentment. "Mom, answer her quickly. You know, pregnant women need to maintain stable emotions." After our wedding, Diana's parents had immediately started pressuring us to have a child. For 5 years, we kept trying, and I knew Diana's parents had said many unkind things behind my back. Considering the issue of continuing the family line, Diana's father, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "After all, Diana's is carrying our foster family's descendant. Everyone should try to control their tempers for the next few months." As soon as he finished speaking, all eyes turned to me. They looked like a united front, and for a moment, I felt like I was the outsider. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Doesn't anyone want to ask for my opinion? See, my displeasure. Sam angrily stepped in front of Diana and questioned me. "Liam, are you deaf? We've told you everything to your face. What more do you want to know?" I couldn't help but laugh coldly. Wife had been on a business trip for 6 months and came back with such a big surprise for me. Not only did she not offer any explanation face to face, but she also had the audacity to take this commanding tone with me. Seeing that I remained silent, Diana started crying again, tugging at Sam's wrist as she sobbed. "If Liam is really angry, maybe I should leave." Diana's mother was displeased when she heard this and immediately responded. "You're carrying our foster family's grandchild. How could we let you leave? After saying this, Sam glared at me and said, "Say something. Look how scared you've made Diana. Diana is carrying my child after all. If you have any objections, you can only take them out on me privately. I won't allow you to hurt her." Sam then pulled Diana's wrist urgently and said, "Diana, please, I think this is going too far. Maybe I should leave. I don't want to cause problems between you and Sam." He looked at me as if he were about to burst into tears with watery eyes, like a soap opera actress in his big moment of suffering. All I could feel was a mix of disgust and rage. Diana, as always, was quick to console him, wrapping him in a protective embrace and murmuring words I couldn't hear but that clearly reassured him. For a moment, I stood still, watching this pathetic scene unfold in my own house where they dared to challenge and humiliate me openly. But a cold, almost calculating feeling took hold of me. I had nothing more to say. Inside me, however, a clear decision had formed. This would be the last day that Diana and her beloved Sam would step foot in my home without my permission. I had endured too much, and watching her defend him, willing to treat me as an obstacle, as a stranger, was the final blow. I turned on my heel, determined, and went to my office. I picked up the phone and called my lawyer. I needed to act quickly before the charade of Sam and Diana became even more unbearable. I quickly explained what was happening, the humiliations I had endured, and he reassured me immediately. Everything was in my name, the house, the accounts, the assets. I already knew that, but hearing it from someone trustworthy gave me renewed confidence. As I spoke with him, I heard footsteps behind me. Diana had come downstairs, probably puzzled by my sudden disappearance. Not bothering to hide the disdain in her voice, she asked, "What are you doing, Sam? Are you going to run away from the conversation again?" I looked at her with a calmness that I believe surprised her. I ended the call and put the phone in my pocket. I stood up slowly, taking a deep breath while she continued to look at me with that air of superiority as if she had won some kind of battle. "Diana," I began, my voice firm. "You accused me of running, but honestly, the only one running here is you. You ran from our marriage, from any respect we once had for each other. And now you have the audacity to being pregnant and bringing another man into my house as if I'm just an observer in your life." She laughed with disdain. "Liam, do you really think you can intimidate me with those words? And I have history. What do we have? Money? Security? Do you think just because you've paid the bills all these years, you can control me?" She seemed convinced she was in control, that her stance made her the master of the situation, but I knew it was all a facade. Diana kept talking, but I stopped listening. I walked to the door and opened it with a determined gesture indicating she should leave. "This isn't an invitation, Diana. It's a warning. Take Liam, his bags, and leave now. I'll send you the divorce papers as soon as possible. And let your family know as well. They won't see another cent from me." Her expression shifted from superiority to surprise and finally, to panic. She hesitated, trying to regain control of the situation. "Liam, you're overreacting. You wouldn't do something like this. You wouldn't be that low." I smiled, a smile she had never seen before. "Oh, Diana, you have no idea what I'm capable of. All these years, I stood by your side enduring every comment from your mother, every thinly veiled humiliation. But I held on to hope that one day you'd see the value in what we built together. Now, it's clear you never respected me." She tried to argue, but was interrupted when Sam came down the stairs, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. He realized something had changed, that I was no longer the submissive husband ready to forgive everything. He placed a protective hand on her belly as if I were a threat to the baby. "Diana, I think it's best if we leave," he said with a false sweetness, trying to calm the situation. "Yes. I think that's best," I replied, looking him directly in the eyes, making it clear that I was no longer fooled by his act. "You have until the end of the day to leave. Consider this my last gesture of kindness." Sam looked at me with hatred, but I remained firm. They left the room and I stayed where I was, watching as she gathered their bags and helped Sam, pride wounded and without another word to me. The house which had been the setting for so many memories, good and bad, was finally free of that weight, that falseness. When the door closed, I felt a wave of relief and at the same time, sadness. But it wasn't for Diana. It was for the time and energy I had devoted to someone who never truly saw me. I called my lawyer again, informing him of Diana's departure and to proceed with the divorce. That night, I sat alone at the dining table, but in peace. As I ate, I thought about the future and all I still had to rebuild for myself. I decided, in that moment, that I would never again allow anyone to treat me the way Diana had and that I would always stand firm, no matter the relationship. After that night when Diana and Sam finally left my house, an unexpected calm washed over me. For the first time in years, I felt fully in control of my life, my decisions, and above all, how I would respond to everything they had put me through. But that feeling alone wasn't enough. I knew they had escaped the situation too easily with no real sense of the weight of their choices. It was an open wound, and I couldn't let it go unanswered. In the days that followed, I stayed in constant contact with my lawyer to expedite the divorce process. The house, bank accounts, and Diana's assets were all intertwined with mine in such a way that, with a single signature, she would lose almost everything. For years, she had grown accustomed to the luxury, the trips, the meals prepared by renowned chefs, a life she only had because she was with me. Now, that privilege was about to disappear, and I would make sure she felt it deeply. The first news I received was that she was desperate, trying to find a place to live with Sam. They had moved into a small apartment in the suburbs, a very different area than Diana was used to. Sam, of course, was not at all pleased with their new reality. He had come to destroy my marriage, thinking he would take my place, but all he achieved was sharing the rent for a modest space with a ruined woman. Diana was also having issues at work. With the divorce, I decided to end all associations and contacts she had gained through me. I informed everyone in our business network about the separation, and made it clear he no longer represented my company in any way. The impact was immediate. Diana lost access to the connections, clients, and influence network I had built with great effort. Now, she was just another face in the crowd. For me, these steps were necessary, but not enough. I wanted Diana and Sam to feel the real weight of the choices they had made. So, I decided to act more directly. I hired a private investigator to document their life in that apartment. It wasn't long before I received a full report. Sam and Diana were constantly fighting. He was frustrated with his new life, complaining about the lack of money, the conditions of their place, and most of all, how she couldn't support him in the lifestyle he believed he deserved. The photos the investigators sent me were living proof that their dream was crumbling. But the final piece of my revenge was yet to come. Through my remaining contacts in the industry, I managed to get a job offer to reach Sam. It was an assistant position in a small company, the type of job that for someone like him felt almost humiliating. It was exactly what I wanted. Sam, hopeful, accepted the job, thinking that eventually he could climb the ranks and regain the lifestyle he longed for. Diana, with no options, also had to accept a job below what she was used to. She started working at a mid-sized company, but her reputation was already tarnished. People saw her as someone who had married for money and was now broke, struggling to keep up appearances. One day, I decided to confront them personally, but in a roundabout way. I knew where they usually had lunch, a small restaurant near Sam's office. So, I walked in unexpectedly, knowing they would be there. The stares around me were inevitable. I approached their table with a smile on my face, noticing the discomfort in their expressions. Diana, Sam, I greeted them as if we were old friends and nothing had happened between us. They stayed silent, visibly uncomfortable. "Liam, we don't need to do this here," Diana muttered, visibly embarrassed. Ignoring her comment, I continued, "I just wanted to see how you're doing. I heard life has changed quite a bit these past few months." I made sure to look them up and down, noting their simple clothes and worn-out appearance. Sam tried to maintain his composure, but it was clear my presence disturbed him deeply. He replied, trying to keep his dignity, "We're fine, Liam. In the end, I guess everyone got what they wanted here." I let out a soft laugh. "Oh, of course. At least I'm living in peace. I just wanted to wish you both happiness. Enjoy every moment of this new life you've built together." I smiled, a look of pure irony, and turned on my heel, leaving them with their plates and their mediocre life. At that moment, I felt truly free. They were trapped in a life of their own making, and there was nothing more I needed to do to worsen their situation. Diana had traded the security and comfort she had with me for an illusion, and Sam, who thought he would take my place, was now stuck in a reality with no luxury, no stability, and none of the respect he thought he deserved. I returned home with a sense of satisfaction I hadn't felt in a long time. Every detail of this revenge was planned so they would face the consequences of their actions on their own. I didn't have to lift finger directly against them, I simply let life take its course while I, on the other hand, rebuilt my peace and freedom. In the months that followed, I began investing in myself. I took up old hobbies, traveled to places I had always wanted to visit, and started exploring new business opportunities. The life I built was finally free of any shadows from the past. And as for Diana and Sam, I heard that their relationship didn't last long. Sam, unsatisfied and frustrated, eventually left Diana, leaving her exactly as she had started, with nothing and no one. When I heard about their end, I simply smiled to myself. They had sown their own seeds, and now they were reaping the fruits of their decisions. As for me, I finally felt like I'd closed that chapter of my life.